Hi, Matt with eTrailer. If you're looking for a way to carry some longer items on top of your roof, or just save more space on top of your 2024 Hyundai Kona, then the Yakima SkinnyWarrior basket is going to be a great option for you. This is going to be more ideal if maybe you have a few people with you and you throw some extra luggage up here that you don't mind sitting out in the elements, or you want to carry any longer items like lumber. So let's check it out. We can take a closer look at the overall design of this carrier. So starting at the very front, we're going to have this front plastic fairing. This is really nice to help this be a little more aerodynamic, to help reduce a lot of wind resistance for what's ever inside the carrier itself. Now what's really cool about this fairing as well is we can actually remove this. There'll be a couple wing nuts on the back of it. You can take that off. And that's where if you have any really long items like that lumber I was just talking about, and now you can finally get that up on top of here too. The second part of the design is going to be these rungs that go all the way across, and that's going to work in two ways. The first way, they're going to be great anchor points if you need to strap anything down. And keep in mind, this is made out of steel with a black powder coat finish to it. So if those are metal hooks you have against here, that does have the possibility to scrape off some of that finish and make it more prone to rusting. The second way it's going to work is how we attach these clamps. These clamps can really grab onto any two rungs at any point. And what that's going to do for us is help us move this or arrange this however we need it to sit on top of our roof and really accommodate to our crossbar spread as well. And talking about how really orienting it is important, we can just take a look at how it fits up here overall. Now right now we have this kind of close to us on one side, resting on the overhang of our crossbars, which is really nice because that's going to make loading a lot easier and save us plenty of space on the other side if we want to use or put any other gear on top of here. And we don't have this sticking out too far. It's not over our windshield, which is a really nice fit. If we take a look at the overall side, you can really see the true length of this carrier and how much room you're going to get out of it too. And then if I take a look at the very back, this is actually really nice because I still have access to my hatch. I'm going to open this up fully without making contact. And that's why it's important to really adjust how this sits on top of your roof, because if I had this further back, I could make contact with my hatch. Or if you wanted to get this in one size larger or get the add-on to make this into the longer carrier, then you're really going to have to try to play around with your space, because at some point you're probably going to have to push this forward so you don't make contact with your hatch. You don't want to have it too far forward where it's going to have too much overhang on top of your windshield. Next up, we can get some measurements on how high it's going to sit. The first spot I like to measure from is just from the top of the crossbar to the top of the carrier, which is going to be at about 6.5 inches. It's important to know so you know what areas you can make it under, anywhere like a garage. Now that's also going to change if you have any gear inside of here that sticks up a little bit higher, so make sure to include that in your measurement. It's not a bad idea just to take the total height of your car, your crossbars, and the carrier, and whatever you have, so you know what areas you can fit under. Another thing to think about is going to be this bottom part of the clamp. We'll talk a little bit about how the clamp functions in a bit, but that's going to stick at a little bit under an inch. So that's something to think about if you have a roof rack that sits closer to the top of your roof, because when you're putting these on, they are slightly large and they can be kind of difficult to put on at points. And what you really need to think about is if you have a sunroof on top of your roof, then if that expands up or extends up, that could make contact with any of those clamps too. So just make sure you double check that. And we can come back to those clamps and how it's really going to work and hold our carrier in place. So you need to make sure you have a roof rack to use this, because we're going to have this top plate that is sitting on top, and we're going to have this bottom plastic plate. And the way this is going to work, we're going to have a bolt on either side with a wing nut that secures everything into place. And this is a really nice design. Now what I've noticed sometimes is when you tighten this wing nut, and you want to get a good fit, sometimes a bolt can shove up a little bit past here. And if you have any canvas bags that you want to put in your carrier, that could get caught on that and rip open. But what I do like about this design is this will work with most crossbars, so your standard arrow, round, or square bars should be fine. Now, if you have anything like those really heavy-duty HD bars, that might not fit. That's just something you need to watch out for. We're also going to have a weight capacity of up to 165 pounds. Now, it is important to check what your roof and crossbar is rated for. You can actually find that in your owner's manual. After when you figure that out, I'd recommend going from the lowest rated component so you don't damage anything. But in my opinion, I think this is a solid choice for what I talked about earlier. If you just need something that's a little bit more narrow because you need more room for other accessories on top of your roof, or you're hauling those longer items, this is going to steal the deal. Now, if you just want to store all your extra cargo in one spot and you don't want to worry about other items, or you want to access this more easily or accessible from either side, then I'd recommend a different style basket. They're going to have some wider baskets, so maybe some of them won't be as long, but you will be able to access it easier from either side. But for most cases, I think this will do you just fine too. But that's just a look at the Yakima SkinnyWarrior Roof Basket on top of our 2024 Hyundai Kona. I'm Matt. Thanks for watching.